Today in Access, we look at how to make a custom form. Up until today, when we had our data, it might look like this, kind of a dull looking table. Later on, we made simplistic forms, columnar or tabular forms. What we're going to do today are what we call custom forms. Just to give you an idea what I'm talking about, we're going to do forms that have a little bit more pizzazz to them, like for instance this one. All right. So you're going to have a nice little design. You're going to put stuff exactly where you want it. We're going to show you how to make up this thing called a Combobox. Here's another example of a custom form. You can put some images in there. Again, a nice little look. Here's another example. It's even got a little toilet for delete and a button here for add a record. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second too. Okay, so today what we're going to do is focus in on a custom form that has a professional look like you might find in a store or a business. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a generic form called custom form, and I've already imported a table called catalog. You just saw me look at it. Okay, and it's got a couple of fields. It's a store that sells hiking equipment for the most part. So product name, selling price, price type, and cost. All right, and what we're going to do is fancy this up and have it look a certain way where we want to make it sort of our own, a custom form. Okay, so what you do to do a custom form is you start off first of all and press form, and we're still going to press new, but we're not going to pick the wizard today. Up until today, we always pick the wizard. What we're going to do today is click on design view and then tell the computer what file we want to work with. Well, we've only got one, so obviously it's going to be catalog, and we press OK. Now, when you press OK, what you'll notice is that, first of all, there's a couple little things here. There's our stuff, our fields. There's our toolbox, which we've seen before. This thing right here, I'm going to widen just a bit more so we can work on it a little better. This is like our blank canvas. This is where we're going to put our stuff. But up until today, it was always put there for us ahead of time. Now we're going to tell the computer where we want to put the stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all, this is for a catalog company, so why don't we put a title? So we'll press the letter A, and we'll draw a little box there, and we'll type in the word catalog database. Okay, now you don't like that font, you can make it bigger obviously, you can make it smaller, you can make it stand out. Actually, I'd like to make it stand out a little bit, so I'm going to right click on it and you can change the font. Okay, now it's red. You can change the size of it. You can highlight it like that and make it go a little bit bigger, smaller, whatever. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, you can right click on it, go to properties, and in here you can change the font. It's farther down. Okay, there's border style, there's the font size 8, and you can make it, quite a bit bigger, just a little bit bigger. It's totally up to you. When you do that, you might have to stretch it out. Okay, you can bold it, italicize it, stuff like that, whatever you want to do. You can also change the effect. You can change the background color of it. You can have it like a little yellow. Now at least you can stand it out. What else can you do? You can do a special effect. You can add a shadow to it. So obviously, see what I'm doing now is making it a bit more professional looking. Okay, so there's our title. Now, where's our actual stuff? Over here on the right-hand side are our fields. So you can drag them and put them wherever you want. So I'm going to put, for instance, the first one, product name, over there. Now with the product name, you should probably spell the whole thing out. I can rub this out a bit and actually type it in properly. Okay, this thing right here, don't touch. That's the actual field name. This you can move around, do whatever you want. It's just the title. But this is the actual field name. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to press this up here. That's the actual binoculars. That's where the stuff goes. So don't touch that. Okay, so that's the product name. Go back into design mode. Sale price, cost price. Those I'll put in here. So sale price, that's what you sell it to the general public for. And cost is what it cost you when you bought it from the wholesaler or whatever else, right? And again, let me go in here for a second and actually type in the word price. All right, and then you can move these things around a little bit, drag that over there a bit more to make it look nice. Same with this one, I'll drag it over here. Let's look at it again. Starting to look, not too bad. And again, you're putting the stuff where you want it. Okay. The last one's a bit trickier. What I want to do for the last one is I want to do this thing called a combo box. See, when you make a nice interface for a business, what you want to do is reduce the chance of errors. So instead of you having some, 16-year-old student who might not be a good speller type in something in your database and it's not really there because they spelt it wrong, what you do is you have a list of the possible choices and they just click on it so they can't go wrong. So the one that we're going to learn how to use is called a combo box. So there it is right there. You press it once and then you put your finger down on the mouse and you draw it. Now where it says combo 4, I'm going to rub that out, and this is going to be called price type. Okay, it's this one right here, which I could have dragged on there, but I want it to look a bit fancier. All right, and just to show you what it would look like if you dragged it on there, I could drag it there, and it's this word: retail, wholesale, discount. There's a bunch of words that you could use. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, but in a more sort of cool way. All right, so we're going to rub that out. Now you see this word here, it says unbound, which means right now it's not connected to anything. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect it to this thing called price type. So what you do is you go to, and there's several ways to do it, but we're going to go to properties, okay, and we're going to go to data. Now the control source is like, where is this actual stuff? Well, that's the thing right there. That's the actual field. The next thing we do is, where are we going to get our information from? Well, we're going to write down a list. So you press list. Now the row source. Here is where we're going to have to stop for a second and see what are the choices that we have to type in here. And we're going to keep using them forever and ever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this off for a second. And I'm going to save it. And I'm going to call it the catalog form. Okay? And I'm going to go back to the table for a second. So we need to type in words like retail, and I'm going to type a few other ones in a second, but you notice here I'm going to type a word called complementary in a second, and wholesale and discount, and those words are big. So see where it says price type here in the details? I've only left it room for 6 letters. Well, wholesale is a fairly long word. It's not going to have enough room. So why don't I make this number 25? Okay, never used that before up until today. This is the field size. This is the longest number of letters that you can type in for that particular thing. Okay, so we're set with that. All right, let's go back now to the form. And this is the form in sort of the way you would see it, right? And of course, we got to go back into design and change it to work for anything. So right here, we're going to click on properties, and underneath value list we're going to write down all the possible combinations. So retail is a combination. Notice I have quotes on it and then semicolon. Another possible word we might use in this business is wholesale. These are for the costs. Another one could be discount. Okay, and then the last one, which isn't going to happen too often, complementary is kind of a word that means free. That won't happen too often. But what we've done here now is we've written down all the possible things that a person that works in this business could choose as the price type. Okay, let's close this off here, and let's see if it actually works. So we'll press this, and right now all you're seeing is the ones that are already in the database. Okay, now let's go back and let's actually go right to the first one. And for binoculars, instead of saying retail, let's say they were the wholesale price. Okay? And then we'll close this off. And I just want to prove to you what's going to happen is that when you go back to the table, see how this one now says wholesale price? So we do not want people that are working at a business touching this raw data. What you do when you're a professional programmer and you're making a database for a business is you want to give the business the fancy interface, so to speak, and not have a student, a young person, or whoever go in and touch the actual data. You always show them this fancy interface. Okay? Now, we can add new stuff too. So if we press that little thing there, we might say we've got a pair of running shoes. And when we got the running shoes, we got them for $50. But we're going to sell them for $100. That's how business works, right? They're trying to make money. And we're going to say that this is the discount price. Okay, and we've just added a new thing. And again, to prove it to you, in the raw database, there are now running shoes with the information there. So isn't that cool? So what you've done is created a nice looking interface for your particular business. All right, let's do a couple other things to it. Pictures. How do you add a picture? There's a couple things here. One says image. That's probably the one to use. And we could add the picture right up here. All right. Now it's doing something because right now it's using what's called a wizard. See that little wand there? That's a wizard. And it's chunking away. It's trying to get something off the hard drive. And in a couple of seconds, what we'll do is if we don't find something that it needs, we'll find our own picture. So obviously it can't find a picture right now, but I've got it pointing to my temp drive, and hey, I've got this picture right here, which I'm going to press. It's the SJB crest. It doesn't look that good, real. So let's right click on it, properties, and format. So size mode right here says clip. We're going to change it to stretch, okay? And I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more so it looks a little bit better. And that's how simple it is to add a picture. Now most interfaces have at least two other things: a way to professionally add a new record and a way to professionally delete a new record. So see that little thing there? The magic wand is up, which means right now we're basically on our own. Whatever we do, we have to do ourselves. But I'm going to press the magic wand down, and then I'm going to press one of these buttons. All right, and I'll put it right up here. And it's going to chug away for a second and then pop up this little thing that says, what do you want to do? And I'm going to ask it to do what we call record operations. And the first one I'm going to do is the one where we add a new record, and you press next, and then it says, do you want a picture for it? Yeah, and I'm going to have a little pencil to say add a new record, and then I'm going to press finish. And we've got a special button now that we can press anytime we want to add records. Let's do it again. I'm going to make another little button here. And this one I'm going to use to delete a record. Now don't laugh, but watch what I'm going to pick for delete a record. I'm going to pick a toilet seat. You can also pick a trash can. Okay? And I'm going to press next, and I'm going to press finish. And now I've got a button to delete. Now how does this look when you actually run it? Well, if you press this button right here, now we've got our fancy interface. And let's say we've added some new inventory. We press the plus sign. Look, everything goes blank. And you can put down here, let's say, sunglasses. Okay? And we bought them for $120. They're really good sunglasses. And we're going to sell them for $200. And this is the retail price. And that's all you do to add a new record. Now, let's go through these records. And let's go back a bit. And climbing rope. We don't sell it anymore. We're going to get rid of it. What do you do to get rid of it? We'll see the little toilet seat. I'm going to press it. And it says, hey, you're about to delete a record. Do you want to actually do this? I'm going to say yes. And it's done. And what you've got there now is a professional looking database. Anything else you can do? Sure. You want to change the whole background color? We could do that. I think we could do that. Let's see. Fill color. Let's make the whole thing kind of blue. There it is. Press here. And now you're starting to see how you can really fancy up a simplistic looking database from what we used to use, just a simple table. Then we use the form wizards, and now we're doing something that's called a custom form.